Welcome to Heart Tales. Before we begin today's story, please take a moment to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much. Willow and I were a textbook definition of a couple purely bound by mutual hatred. The moment I suggested that we sleep in separate rooms, a barrage of bullet chat comments, like live comments on a web novel screen, suddenly flashed past my eyes. This male lead side character is so stupid. Out of nowhere asking to sleep separately? Anyone can tell something's off. Over 100 chapters in, and they still haven't slept together? Does the author even dare? What's the point of a story without hot scenes? Brothers, don't worry. Once the female lead agrees to sleep separately, the male side character is going to bolt with the sweet, innocent schoolgirl. Female lead catches him, turns full-on villainous / yandere, and then it's either straight to bed or on the way to bed. Zero fluff, pure spice. But female lead is way too powerful. I'm just afraid the guy's stamina can't keep up. Terrified out of my mind, I scrambled back under the duvet and hurriedly backtracked. On second thought, let's still sleep together. Honestly, I actually quite like you. Hearing my utterly insincere words, Willow let out a cold laugh. Keep acting. Didn't you say you love being teased and played with by me? My fingers traced along her collarbone, slowly sliding downward. Willow's skin went unnaturally rigid, her breathing turning heavy and rapid. The bullet chats flooded in once again. El Mayo, we aren't fish in your backyard pond. You toss out a line, and she immediately bites? Female lead, just go wild. Hasn't it always been like this? Every time the guy gives her a tiny nudge, she takes the initiative to kiss him. Gotta admit, female lead's body is so hot it gives you a nosebleed. Curves in all the right places, plump where it counts. If I could transmigrate into this guy, drive supercars, and live in a free villa, I'd sign up instantly. The guy above wants to eat for free and take takeout home too. OMG, male lead don't stop. Looks like female lead is about to lose control. Startled, I jerk my hand back, my face burning hot. My regretful expression fell straight into Willow's eyes. She let out a soft chuckle, leaning down to stare intently at me. Those deep, dark eyes seemed capable of seeing right through me. Ethan, didn't you wish you could kill me before? Why are you taking the initiative all of a sudden? Willow wasn't wrong. Before this, I genuinely wanted her dead. The two of us were a famous couple among the Beijing elite, a pair bound purely by hatred. All because of one crazy night, we were forced into a shotgun marriage. After getting hitched, we constantly seized each other's vulnerabilities, fighting to the point of absolute ruin. She had ruined countless romantic prospects of mine without a shred of mercy. And I, in turn, had caused her to lose face in public time and time again. Eventually, though, anyone gets exhausted from constant fighting. I just didn't want to keep this toxic tension going with her anymore. So, under the cover of late night, I had planned to flee with that college girl. After all, she was a pure, innocent 20-year-old student. That was the plan, until a few minutes ago when I saw those bullet chat comments. To avoid being turned into the villainous victim of a dark romance plot, I had no choice but to tearfully abandon my escape plan. Seeing that I didn't answer, Willow's gorgeous yet dangerously sharp face suddenly pressed closer. Stopping less than a few millimeters from my face, the air instantly filled with an intensely suggestive atmosphere. I snapped back to reality. Face burning bright red, I began spouting serious nonsense. I recently realized that you're actually pretty great. You're beautiful, got an incredible figure, and you're generous with your money on me. Compared to those girls out there. Honestly, those basic, heavily makeup-clad girls can't hold a candle to you. Willow looked at me with a half-smile that wasn't quite a smile. Is that so? In that case, delete all those models on your WeChat. My body went instantly rigid. Willow really knew how to strike at the absolute perfect moment to kill. Under her knife-sharp gaze, I obediently deleted over a dozen models from my contact list. Willow raised an eyebrow. You didn't delete that college girl? She knows I was preparing to flee with her tonight. My hand trembled slightly. Willow truly knew everything. I let out a quiet sigh of relief in my heart. Luckily, right before escaping, I had caught those bullet chat messages. I didn't answer, simply burying my face against the plump swell of her chest beneath her thin top, secretly wiping away my tears. While Willow was taking a shower, I seized the opportunity to open another WeChat account and sent a message to that college girl. "Baby, it's late." Followed by, "Send a photo." The person who had occupied my thoughts for 7 whole years was my white moonlight, my first love. Even though our relationship existed solely online, she had saved my life more than once. Back when my stepmother nearly beat me to death, she was the one who called the police to keep me alive. When I had no money for surgery and was driven to absolute rock bottom, she was the one who paid my medical bills. If it hadn't been for that fateful night with Willow, perhaps she and I would be together right now. A notification sound yanked me back to reality. She replied, "I'll take one in a bit." Then, out of nowhere, she asked, "Ethan, between me and her, who do you like more?" Her, no guessing needed, referred to Willow. Without a second thought, I typed back, "Does that even need asking? The one I like is you, not Willow." No matter how good she is, I could never fall for her. The status changed to read, but no reply came back. I clearly said I liked her. Why is she mad? A woman's mind really is impossible to read. At that exact moment, the bullet chat comments began rolling wildly across my vision. Haha, even jealous over this kind of vinegar soaking. Every time, I'm just waiting for the spicy photo drop. If she gets mad today and doesn't send it, I'm gonna cry. Even though I ship the male lead side character with the female lead, you and that girl are super cute together too. Whatever, I'm aboard every ship. After all, both the female lead and female side character are. The lines that followed seemed to have been censored. Someone spoiled again and got cut off, expressing 3 seconds of grief on behalf of the brothers. Based on my endless novel reading experience, the hidden comment was definitely some kind of explicit keywords. My brain worked at full capacity. Incredible bedroom skills? Unshakable foundation? Or, my face turned bright red. The corners of my mouth curled up uncontrollably. Gosh, what on earth could it be? So impossible to guess. Since she didn't reply, I could only kill time by reading the comments. Through these scattered bullet messages, I gradually pieced together the general plot of this world. As it turned out, I was living inside an angst-filled web novel. Willow was the female lead, Brandon was the male lead, and I was merely the insignificant male side character meant to drive their relationship forward. After the male lead returned to the country, I would go mad with obsessive love, pulling every trick in the book to keep them apart. I would insult the male lead as a mere substitute and frame him for stealing confidential company files from the female lead, causing massive misunderstandings between them. In the end, my evil deeds would be exposed by Willow. She would come to her senses, her very last shred of affection for me evaporating into thin air. Realizing the one she truly loved was the male lead, she would personally send me to prison. Unable to endure life behind bars, I would smash my head against a wall and transmigrate to who knows where. Staring at my canon ending, I froze for a few seconds. What kind of pitiful excuse for a male side character am I? Hurry up and check the phone. The photo's here. Snapping out of it, I opened the message. My face instantly flushed crimson. The photo was taken inside a bathroom. With an exquisite, alluring figure, the woman was wrapped in nothing but a loose bath towel. Her porcelain white skin was completely on display, her long legs faintly visible behind the rising steam. It was a breathtaking scene that made one's heart hammer wildly. The bullet chats exploded. As expected of her, top-tier quality photos, as always, gasp. I'm licking the screen like crazy. Sister, I'm sorry, I just did something dirty to your photo. This male side character is eating so well. Thank you. Bro, say the word, and we'll instantly crown you as the new male lead. No way. With all the vile stuff he does later in the plot, turning him into the male lead would be sheer horror. But isn't he derailing from the original plot line right now? Early the next morning, I was woken up by my phone ringing. It was a call from the college girl. Panicking, I immediately hung up. Who was that? I turned my head in shock to see Willow standing there. She was wearing a pure white fitted dress that accentuated her tall, graceful silhouette, her almond eyes lazy yet razor-sharp. I lied right through my teeth, just a telemarketer. Willow slightly knit her brows, and the bullet chats instantly began rolling in. Oh, it's over, it's over. The female lead's dark side meter is ticking up. Well, for the sake of your own life, maybe flirt with her a bit. I grabbed Willow's hand, staring straight into her eyes without blinking. What? Don't tell me you think another woman called? Are you jealous? Her ears flushed a soft pink, and even her breathing turned heavy. She lowered her eyes, avoiding my gaze, her voice laced with cold detachment. Such a pathetic, cliché line. Only someone like you would come up with it. Her mouth was spouting disdain, yet Willow let me hold her hand without pulling away. I used my fingertips to lightly trace circles on her cheek, putting on a playfully huffy act. Ah, well, how could someone like me ever be as smart as you? So, Willow, do you like a pathetic, foolish guy like me? Willow froze, falling silent for a long moment. But catching my expectant gaze, she finally uttered in a barely audible voice, I do. The bullet chats blew up. What kind of settings did the male side character switch on for the female lead? Suddenly remembered a line that fits this scene way too well. As long as I can be with the young master, I'll do anything willingly, even be his dog. Not just the female lead, I'm starting to fall for the male side character too. Who wouldn't fall for a bad boy with a killer body, a handsome face, and insane flirting skills? I leaned in close to Willow, stopping just millimeters away from her lips, teasing a kiss without giving it to her. Her throat worked softly, her heart hammering visibly against her chest. Just as she closed her eyes, I suddenly raised my phone between us. Willow, it's already 8:30. Isn't that a clear hint? It's time for you to head to the company. Willow let out a laugh at my mood-ruining stunt, though the raw desire in her eyes hadn't entirely faded. Playing tricks on me again? I shrugged. Well, it's not like it's the first time. Willow adjusted her outfit. I'll be back at 6 p.m. Play whatever you want then. The comments flooded with wild, feral words once more. Is this play even PG-13? Hearing that makes my mind go completely filthy. But the female lead is so bold. Feels like the male side character won't survive tonight. When I received a message from that college girl, I was genuinely caught off guard. It had been a long time since she took the initiative to text me during the day. Usually, it was me reaching out to her at night. Can we meet up? I stared blankly at the chat screen, my mind completely empty. After deliberating for a long time, I typed back a single word. Okay. We agreed to meet at the movie theater. On the way there, I couldn't stop imagining what she would be like in real life. Gentle and refined, cold and aloof, or quiet and composed. The movie was about to start, and the auditorium gradually sank into darkness. A woman walked in slowly and sat down right next to me. I was so nervous my palms were drenched in sweat. My heart hammered inside my chest like a kick drum. I didn't even dare to turn my head and look at her. She reached out, took my hand, and intertwined her 10 fingers with mine. Gathering every ounce of courage, I pulled off my mask and turned my head. A familiar face appeared right before my eyes. It was Willow. Meeting her here felt no different from running into a ghost in broad daylight. Only then did I catch the faint, iron-like scent of blood lingering on Willow. A dark, terrifying premonition washed over me, and I stared at her in utter disbelief, my voice trembling. What did you do to her? I knew Willow's ruthless methods all too well. She let out a sneering, self-deprecating laugh. Ethan, in your eyes, am I really such a cruel, heartless woman who treats human life like trash? I froze. Could it be it wasn't her? But looking back at anyone who had ever crossed her, not a single one had ever met a good end. My eyes turned rimmed and red as I sobbed out. Willow, please, I beg you, spare that young, innocent girl, okay? I'll completely cut off all contact with her. She's the only person who ever brought a shred of warmth into my life. During the first 20 years of my existence, if it hadn't been for her, I probably would have died during that summer when I was 8. I just don't want her getting hurt, because of me. Willow stared at me with those deep, dark eyes, like a bottomless, freezing lake that rendered her thoughts completely unreadable. Do you like her? I hadn't expected Willow to suddenly drop that question. With a keen observer like her, even if I lied and said I didn't, she wouldn't buy it. It might even backfire catastrophically. Taking a deep breath, I answered, yes. And what about me? I fell silent. Willow squeezed my hand violently, a dark crimson glint flashing in her eyes. She dragged me straight out of the movie theater and into the car. Inside the vehicle, her icy lips pressed against my neck, brushing softly before suddenly biting down hard. I gasped in sharp pain. Willow, are you a dog? Willow froze, the reddish hue at the corners of her eyes fading slightly. Sorry, I lost control. It was the very first time I had ever seen Willow look so flustered. The bullet chat comments exploded with poetic drama. Who can understand this feeling? That split second when the female lead hurts the male side character and instantly snaps back to sanity. Her dark meter is about to max out. She's letting him off the hook this time, but next time it's definitely going to be a full-on dark room humiliation play. Another viewer chimed in. In the original novel, the male side character is described like a bottle of mineral water. Once he gets crushed by her dark side for the first time, he becomes completely addicted. Every single day he gets dragged into doing it. Whips, ice cubes, holy crap, I can't wait. I went totally rigid upon reading that comment. No way. The plot after Willow turns dark gets that wild. I pondered for a few seconds. Between occasionally flirting with Willow and getting sucked into hardcore humiliation plays, any sane person would definitely choose the former, right? Seeing that Willow didn't dare to look me in the eye, I leaned in and gently bit down on her collarbone. She let out a soft groan, a deep blush spreading from her neck all the way to her ears. Seeing her mood improve, I hesitated before asking, Willow, so what actually happened? If I said I didn't lay a finger on her, would you believe me? Her gaze was disarmingly direct, without a trace of a lie. Then why were you the one who showed up instead of Ava? I instinctively looked down at my phone and noticed a message from Ava sent 10 minutes ago saying something urgent had come up and she couldn't make it. I had completely misunderstood Willow. Flushing with awkward embarrassment, I hurriedly explained, Willow, I was jumping to conclusions. When you arrived, I smelled blood on you and thought you had done something to her. Willow rolled up her sleeve. Only then did I notice the bandage wrapped around her arm, blood seeping through and staining the fabric crimson. Just looking at it made me wince in pain. Seeing my reaction, Willow put on a nonchalant air. It's fine. It just looks terrifying, but it's actually not that deep. It's hardly the first time a competitor has tried to take me out. I was just careless this time. I gently took her hand, bending my head to blow softly on the wound. Willow, don't hide things like this from me ever again. Willow froze, staring at me in utter disbelief, her voice trembling slightly. A comment from viewer popped up. The female lead probably never expected the male side character to actually care about her. Even knowing it might be fake, she still wants to fall for the lie. She still wants to drown in it. Willow, you're in way too deep. By the time we returned to the villa, night had already fallen. Willow was taking a shower in the bathroom. The rustling sound of running water mixed with intentionally seductive breaths. It was almost impossible to ignore. I used to be confident in my resistance to temptation. After all, that college girl had sent me countless provocative photos, so I thought I was immune. The problem was that the bathroom used frosted glass. My eyes involuntarily drifted toward it. Through the hazy surface, Willow's captivating silhouette was faintly visible. I forgot my towel, could you? I knew full well she was doing this on purpose, but my body honestly picked up a towel and brought it to the door. As my gaze slipped through the crack of the opening, my face flushed bright red instantly, and I jerked my head away. A comment exploded across my vision. How can such a crucial plot point be blurred out? Is there anything us diehard fans aren't allowed to see? Lost Life 21 chimed in too. Fuzzy is fine, but don't blur it next time. Wah, I'm gonna cry for real. The comments were a wild mess, but one thing they said was undeniably true. Willow was truly captivating. As for that whole mineral water bottle theory, well, nothing is set in stone just yet. While I was still standing there frozen, Willow suddenly pulled me into the bathroom, her tone teasing and playful. forcing down the rising embarrassment in my heart. I looked up. Clear droplets of water trickled down the valley of her chest, disappearing beneath the bath towel. For the first time, I found a simple towel so utterly eyesore-inducing. "Hubby, do you want to touch?" Willow was definitely doing this on purpose. My entire body turned scorching hot, as if I were fully cooked through, yet driven by some inexplicable impulse. I asked back, "Can I really?" Willow took my hand directly and placed it right over her heart. Unable to hold back, I gave a gentle poke, then gathered all my courage to squeeze softly. Her skin was extraordinarily soft with a supple bounce. She tilted her head, leaning in close with dark, shadowed eyes, her gaze locked onto my lips. "You've looked, you've touched. Hubby, care to try anything else?" I raised my hand and lightly slapped her beautiful face. "Give you an inch and you take a mile, don't you?" The next morning, my best friend Jay suddenly called me. "Ethan, did you know? Brandon is back in the country." I froze, and the phone dropped onto the floor with a clatter. Hearing the thump, Jay asked anxiously, "Ethan, are you okay?" "I'm a bit tired. Talk to you later." Brandon, he was the male lead of the original story. According to the original plot line, it shouldn't have been until more than a year after Willow turned villainous and imprisoned me that Brandon returned to the country. But right now, it was way too early. Why was he back all of a sudden? A comment popped up. What's with the male lead returning out of nowhere? Is it because the male side character didn't split rooms with the female lead, throwing the original plot off track? Eel Poet chimed in, with a suspicion too. Could this be the system correcting the storyline? After all, Brandon has the male lead aura. Breaking the script is a piece of cake. I just got my daily dose of sweetness. Please don't feed me angst now. Staring at the wave of bullet chat comments, a surging sense of unease washed over me. If I were forced back onto the path of the original plotline, sooner or later I would meet the same dead-end fate as in the novel. My first thought, I had to prevent Willow from meeting the male lead. So for the next few days, I clung to her constantly, pleading with her to work from home. That way, she wouldn't have any chance of running into Brandon at the company. The method was effective, though it took quite a toll on my energy. Yet, man proposes, God disposes. While Willow and I were walking around a shopping mall, we unexpectedly ran into Brandon. He was wearing a light yellow suit, boasting strikingly handsome looks, the textbook definition of a male lead. The moment he laid eyes on Willow, Brandon's eyes filled with sheer surprise and joy. His voice was so soft it gave me goosebumps. "Willow, long time no see. I was planning to drop by your office in a few days, but I didn't expect to run into you here. What a coincidence." The overly intimate way he said Willow made an uncomfortable knot form in my chest. I unconsciously tightened my grip on her hand. Feeling my tension, Willow quietly squeezed back. Brandon's eyes drifted over to me, his expression darkening slightly before he quickly restored his aloof, high-and-mighty demeanor. "And this must be Mr. Ethan? I've heard people around Beijing say that you and I bear a slight resemblance. Meeting you in person today, it really is true." His words were heavily loaded, and the bullet chats instantly surged across my vision. In the original novel at this point, the male and female leads were just business partners. Male lead wasn't even in love with her yet. Saying this now is basically implying the male side character is a body double. Looked forward to the male and female leads reunion for so long, only to be completely disappointed. Willow clearly picked up on the hidden sting in his words too. Knitting her brows, she shot back. "Who said that?" Brandon clearly hadn't anticipated her reacting like this. Panic flickered briefly in his eyes. I forgot. Seems like someone mentioned it, or maybe I remembered wrong." Willow replied coldly. "If anyone says that again, I'll trouble you to pass along a message for me, Mr. Brandon. I'd love to see who has the audacity to say such things, and whether they still want their tongue." Brandon froze, a stiff, contorted smile forced onto his face. It looked worse than crying. Finding the atmosphere unbearable, Brandon made a weak excuse and beat a hasty retreat. I let out a soft sigh of relief. I had assumed that once Willow met the male lead again, The plot would force its way back onto its original track, but it didn't. Doesn't that mean because I can see these screen comments, my actions change? And my changed actions cause the entire story's trajectory to shift as well? Lately, Willow had been swamped with a new project, frequently working late into the night at the office. I cooked some homemade food and brought it over to her. Her assistant informed me, "CO Willow is still in a meeting. You can wait inside her office for a bit." My face flushed slightly red as thoughts of the things that had happened in that office crossed my mind. Inside her office, as I was pouring out the soup, I accidentally spilled some onto the desk. Finding the tissue box empty, I opened a drawer to look for more and came across a phone, one I had never seen Willow use before. Staring at the lock screen password prompt, I paused for a few seconds, then entered my own birthday. The phone unlocked instantly. I stood there paralyzed, staring at the contents inside. It was the WeChat account of that young college girl. Every single photo she had ever sent me was stored right there. Why was the college girl's phone in Willow's possession? No wonder she hadn't messaged me lately. Could it be that she already... When Willow opened the door and stepped in, her eyes fell on the phone in my hand, and her entire body went rigid. "You promised me you wouldn't hurt her," I questioned. My eyes rimmed red. "I'm only asking you one thing. Where is she?" Willow looked into my eyes, her voice trembling slightly. "Do you really want to know?" I nodded. "Ethan, what if I am her?" "That's impossible." I shoved her away, my mind going completely blank. The last glimmer of light in Willow's eyes extinguished. She pulled out an angel-shaped pendant. "Do you believe me now?" I recognized it immediately. It was the birthday gift I had bought with my very first paycheck after graduation and mailed to that online girl. I looked around in sheer shock as the bullet chat comments flooded my vision once again. "Ah, the spoil is finally here. I told you guys. The female lead and the college girl are the exact same person." I got muted last time for saying it. Now the plot is completely branching off from the original. In the original book, the male side character died without ever knowing who she was. It was so frustrating. Now that he knows, will the ending be different? Please, no bad ending. I love this main pair so much. It felt as though a bolt of lightning had struck my brain right then and there. How could it be Willow all along? I yanked my hand out of her tight grip and virtually fled from the office building. I didn't know how to face her. I didn't know whether to feel relieved that the girl was safe, or to be furious that Willow had deceived me for so long. Everything felt entirely absurd. I hailed a cab and headed back to the villa. Inside the car, I stared blankly as the bullet chat comments continued to roll past. Wait, is it really heading toward a bad ending? I've literally never shipped the right couple in my life. This hurts so much. Honestly, both of them had their own bitter struggles. The male side character was being used as a pawn by his own father, while the female lead was trapped and framed by her business partners. Otherwise, why would they have ended up in bed together that night? Yeah, but after that night, the male side character cursed the female lead with the harshest words imaginable, saying he'd rather die than be with a woman like her. The female lead was terrified that revealing her online identity would make him hate her even more, which is why she cut off contact as the online girl. I sat in disbelief, unable to process the dark truths revealed by those floating comments. That night, Willow and I slept in the same bed because my father had arranged it all to climb the power ladder of the Vance family. I had always assumed Willow was the mastermind behind it. I snapped out of my tangled mess of thoughts, falling silent for a long while before it suddenly hit me. Instead of running away, wouldn't it be better to face her and clear up every single misunderstanding? I hurriedly said to the taxi driver, "Driver, I left something important back at the office. Could you please turn around?" When Ethan left, Willow instinctively reached out to grab his hand, but in the end, she couldn't hold onto a thing. Only a single strand of Ethan's hair slipped through her fingertips, light as nothing, leaving no trace behind. Just like her childhood longing for maternal love. Just like her father who had jumped from the rooftop. Just like the man she had loved for 7 whole years. She could hold on to none of them, and none of them would ever be hers again. That night, when Ethan said he would rather die than stay with someone like her, Willow realized that what he loved was merely an idealized persona behind a screen. Definitely not the cold, ruthless reality of who she was. She didn't dare reveal her true identity. Until that night when he asked for separate bedrooms and his attitude suddenly softened. She had just been preparing to confess everything candidly once more, only to be met with endless silence. The man she had loved for 7 years would probably never love the real her. In that moment, Willow faltered. She hadn't dared to tell Ethan that she was the girl behind the screen all along. Now, forced to reveal the truth, she remembered all too well that what Ethan hated most was being deceived. Exiting the office, Willow called her secretary. "Where is he?" The voice on the other end replied respectfully, "Mr. Ethan took a taxi. Judging by the route, he's heading toward the villa." Returning to the villa, Ethan definitely wouldn't want to see her right now, let alone return to their shared home. Perhaps he was only going back to pack his bags and prepare to leave her for good. At the thought, a sharp, involuntary pang struck Willow's heart. She fell silent for a long time before finally speaking. "As of this moment, cancel all surveillance on him. Prepare the divorce papers. If he asks for a divorce, do not stand in his way. Immediately settle and divide all corporate and personal assets. Split everything 50-50 between us. All right? He really loves the ocean. Transfer all those beachfront villas under his name." Hanging up the phone, her heart felt utterly hollow. She remembered reading in a book once that love means restraint and endurance. It means letting go and letting the other person be whole. Before, she could never make sense of those words. But today, looking back at the time they had spent together, she finally realized that Ethan had almost never been truly happy by her side. Willow wanted him to be happy. So, no matter how unwilling her heart was this time, she had to learn to let go. Leaving the office building, she looked up at the sky, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. Ever since her mother passed away, she couldn't recall shedding a single tear, until now. Suddenly, a shadow bumped right into her. "Sorry, I'm so sorry." A familiar voice came from in front of her. Willow looked at the person standing before her in utter shock. "Why are you here?" Ethan bent over, leaning his face close to hers. "Were you crying?" Willow tried her best to maintain her composure. "I thought you—" Ethan waved his hand dismissively. "Ah well, who made me so soft-hearted? I'm giving you one more chance to explain." Willow threw her arms around him, her heart pounding wildly in her chest, her voice trembling. "All right, I'll explain everything clearly to my husband. Let me ask you," I said to her, "why didn't you tell me that you were?" She fell silent for a long moment, then spoke softly. "Do you really want to know?" I nodded. Willow's eyes lit up as she stared intently at me, her expression dead serious. "Ethan, in this world, you're the most important person to me. You're also the only person I have ever liked, the only one I have ever loved. You hated me so much back then. I was terrified that if I told you, you would throw me away." Facing Willow's sudden confession, my heart raced completely out of control. Bullet chats flew across the vision. As expected, love makes people feel insecure and cowardly. Even a high-end mighty heiress like Willow is no exception. "Foolish girl," I whispered, leaning down to press a soft, feather-like kiss onto her lips. My heart was hammering against my ribs like a war drum. Willow's ears flushed crimson, and her lips curled into a gentle smile before she suddenly flipped the dynamic, taking full control of the kiss. She kissed me so intensely that my entire spine went numb, and my legs nearly turned to jelly. The bullet chats swept across my vision. Ah, how can it be this sweet right now? Love soldiers down on the spot. Is everyone satisfied now? This scene is so beautiful it could literally be broadcasted on TV. Both lead and side character are gorgeous. Watching them kiss is pure eye candy. I used to think life was long, and that Willow and I would have plenty of time to build our feelings together. I never expected Brandon to suddenly come looking for me. Inside the coffee shop, he sat opposite me, an arrogant smirk plastered on his face. I didn't bother showing him any courtesy. "Does your company not have coffee? Or did you come all the way here to scrounge off mine?" Brandon let out a disdainful snort, his eyes filled with pity. You still don't know that Willow is preparing to divorce you, do you? How pathetic. He pulled a document out of his bag and slammed it onto the table. Boldly printed across the top was divorce agreement, followed by detailed asset division terms. My body froze. The assets listed on that paper were things only Willow and I knew about. The chances of it being forged were virtually zero. Seeing my silence, Brandon's smugness grew bolder. The moment I returned to the country, she rushed to get a divorce from you. Smart as you are, you can probably guess the reason, right? I advise you to know your place. Willow and I are longtime business partners. We are the ones meant to walk the same path. As for you, you know nothing about business, and your background doesn't even come close. You don't honestly think she loves you, do you? You two only got married back then because public pressure forced her hand. I picked up the copy to examine it, my voice dropping low. Where did you get these documents? A flicker of panic flashed through Brandon's eyes, though he quickly regained his composure. Why do you care? I have my ways. With that, he snatched the paper back and made a hasty exit, not forgetting to throw a bitter parting shot over his shoulder. Better worry about yourself. When things blow up, you might not even end up with a single dime. The bullet chat screen exploded. The male lead of this story is truly opening my eyes. Isn't he the textbook definition of a toxic villain? Still, that divorce agreement doesn't look fake. Is the plot quietly steering back toward the original track? Please no. I've already shipped this pair. Don't give us a bad ending. I knew Willow's company had been auditing all its assets recently, but I never imagined it was all in preparation for a divorce. Even if it meant splitting her assets in half, did she still want a divorce? I still couldn't bring myself to believe it. How could the woman who currently wanted to cling to me every single second be quietly preparing to abandon me? I would rather believe that this was just the storyline forcing a correction than believe she had genuinely changed her mind. I decided I was going to address everything with her head on tonight. When Willow returned home from the office, a bright smile lit up her face as she wrapped her arms around me, though the exhaustion in her eyes remained unmistakable. I broke the silence. Have you been really busy lately? She patted my head affectionately. Are you worried about me? There's just been a lot going on at the company lately. Plus, I'm preparing a surprise for you, so I'm a bit tied up. My voice trembled slightly as I asked, what kind of surprise? Willow let out a mysterious smile. Ethan, you'll find out in a few days. Over the days that followed, Willow grew increasingly buried in work. Even the text messages I sent were frequently left unanswered, something she had never done before. She seemed to have changed, yet at the same time, it felt as though nothing had changed at all. I didn't confront her, choosing instead to quietly await this so-called surprise. I tried to tell myself, it's no big deal. If she really had a change of heart, it just means she's blind. I offered myself some cold comfort. Ethan, going from being a husband to an insanely wealthy bachelor means you can travel the world and hang out with any model you want. No one will be around to boss you around anymore. How sweet is that? I listed every single perk of leaving her in my head, yet my chest felt heavily suffocated, as if stuffed with cotton. I realized I had truly fallen in love with Willow, whether she was that 20-year-old girl behind the screen or the flesh-and-blood woman standing right in front of me today. The surprise gift Willow had mentioned arrived sooner than I expected. Inside the car, she covered my eyes with a black blindfold. We'll be there in just a moment. Almost there. I had never realized 15 minutes could feel so agonizingly long. Every single second felt like pure torture. I tried my best to steady my nerves, but my voice trembled involuntarily nonetheless. Willow, have you ever loved me? Willow froze for a split second, but quickly regained her usual gentle demeanor. Why ask that out of nowhere? You're my husband. If I don't love you, who else would I love? But very soon, that won't be true anymore. Before long, the car gradually came to a complete stop. My heart hammered wildly against my ribs, my hands shaking with uncontrollable tension. Ethan, it's time to get out of the car. Willow guided me up the stairs, then gently untied my blindfold. I looked around in sheer astonishment. The grand hall was filled with high society elites and prominent figures from all over Beijing. Taking my hand, Willow led me inside. She was the first to speak, her tone lacking its usual cold authority, softened with warmth. "Thank you, everyone, for taking time out of your busy schedules to attend the engagement ceremony for my husband and me." I stared at Willow in complete disbelief. Engagement? Wasn't it supposed to be a divorce? Willow looked at me with a soft smile, the corner of her lips curving up slightly. "Back then, you hated me so much you wished I were dead, and our wedding ceremony was put on hold. But a few days ago, when we attended someone else's wedding, a comment you made reminded me of it. So I've been busy putting all of this together." I stared at her, my heart hammering against my chest like thunder. Not long ago, while attending a friend's wedding, I had casually muttered under my breath, "The groom is so lucky." This scene is exactly how I imagined marrying the person I love. Willow leaned in close, softly teasing, "So, Ethan, do you want to marry the person you love now?" Blushing furiously, I gave her a light nudge and put on a huffy act. "You did this on purpose?" I really hadn't expected Willow to hold on to that offhand remark for so long. "So, Ethan, do you want us to hold a proper wedding?" Her voice yanked me back to reality. My eyes turned rimmed and red, but a tearful laugh broke through before the tears could even fall. "I do." Standing on the stage, Willow looked at me, her ears flushing a light pink. Just as she was about to speak, a male voice cut in from the distance. "I object. Willow, after I returned to the country, you were planning to divorce Ethan. Why the sudden change of heart now?" Willow's warm expression instantly turned icy, her voice razor-sharp. "Mr. Brandon, I don't recall inviting you here. Furthermore, where exactly did you get your information?" Brandon panicked briefly, but quickly forced himself to compose his expression. I just happened to overhear it when I visited your company." Willow let out a cold laugh. "Then someone at my company has far too much free time on their hands." Turning to her assistant, she ordered, "I want the mole found within 24 hours. You know how to handle it without me having to spell it out." "Understood, CEO Willow." She turned her gaze back to Brandon. "I gave you a chance before, but you failed to appreciate it. From this day forth, anyone who dares to do business with the Brandon family is making an enemy out of me, Willow Vance." Gasps echoed throughout the entire venue, and Brandon's father passed out cold on the spot. Willow smiled coldly. "You're going to regret this." Brandon glared at me venomously. "You don't deserve her. She belongs with me. I'm the only one who truly matches her." Before Willow could even move a muscle, I spoke up first. "I may not know much about business, but I do know a thing or two about martial arts," I said. "Mr. Brandon, why don't you test me out? I've studied Taekwondo for years, and lately I haven't had a chance to put it to use." I raised my fist, driving Brandon even further into madness. Even if I wasn't the original male lead, the worst I could do was transition from a tragic male side character into a ruthless villain. As I prepared to actually throw a punch, Brandon grew increasingly hysterical, screaming that he was the chosen male lead of this world and had simply failed to realize his full potential until now. The bullet chat comments shifted rapidly. Is Brandon completely obsessed with being the male lead, or what? Turns out he only dared to pull all these stunts because he thought he had the male lead halo. Brandon was dragged out of the hall, and the room instantly fell silent. Willow let out a soft laugh. "Do you hate me for being so ruthless?" I shot her a glance. "Willow, you really are beyond saving." She cleared her throat, her laughter fading as she looked at me. No, she was simply doting on him to no end. "Ha ha ha. The female lead doesn't care about right or wrong at all. She just loves her husband. So sweet, it's making my heart melt. Female lead, you are seriously amazing." After the engagement ceremony, I still couldn't help but ask Willow, "So, what about that divorce agreement?" Willow was amused by my cautious demeanor. "That day at the movie theater, when you suddenly ran off, I thought you didn't want me anymore. After overthinking it, I finally resolved to give you your freedom, never expecting someone else would steal the documents and use them against us." "I still don't get it." I pressed on. "Why were you calculating and splitting all the assets afterwards?" Willow smiled with endless indulgence. "Wasn't your dream back then to become a ultra-wealthy tycoon? Even though my husband is already very rich now, it's still not wealthy enough. Besides, if one day you ever regretted being with me, and wanted to leave. Having all that money in your hands would be your greatest safety net. Who could possibly refuse a woman who actively plans to turn you into a multimillionaire? I looked at Willow and asked softly, "Would you really have had the heart to let me go?" She went quiet for a moment, letting out a bittersweet smile. Even if I couldn't bear it, what choice would I have? Ethan, I love you. That's why I can't selfishly use marriage to tie you down. You are free. I pulled her tightly into my arms. You absolute fool. It was the very first time I felt such an aching pang of sympathy and love for Willow. That was until we returned to the villa. Note to self: never make light promises to a woman who has been starved of affection for 2 or 3 whole years. Willow's desire was truly terrifying. My entire body, inside and out, was left covered in her marks. Tears streaming down my face, I begged her for mercy. "Willow, I can't take it anymore. I'm way too exhausted." Yet her eyes were still ablaze with unrestrained passion. Her slender hands continued to explore every inch of my body, her voice echoing right beside my ear. "Ethan, we've made it this far. Put a little more strength into it." My ears were filled entirely with her wild, brazen pillow talk. As the saying goes, the soft-hearted always get bullied. And as for the bullet chats from the audience, not a single soul came to my rescue. It was all pure teasing and snark. Screen goes black right at the climax again. Ha ha ha, I'm done. Just destroy this world already. Female lead meant that when she said this far. I get it without you spelling it out. Listening to this makes my face flush and my heart race. The female lead's voice is so seductive and intoxicating, a truly lavish banquet of pleasure. Please let the female lead and male side character engage in more physical exercise. Though at this rate, it's definitely going to go until morning. At 2 in the morning, Willow reached into the box and pulled out yet another packet. I shuddered, my legs as weak as cooked noodles. "Willow, that's the 9th one already. Still not enough? Didn't you say you wanted to give me my freedom?" Her eyes were ablaze with unrestrained passion, her voice heavy with craving. "Hubby, it's late now. I'll set you free tomorrow, okay?" Aw. As expected, showing a woman a moment of sympathy brings a lifetime of trouble. In bed, not a single word coming out of Willow's mouth could be trusted. On our official wedding night, I was so exhausted I didn't even have the strength to speak. Who knew getting married could be this tiring? Lying side by side in bed with Willow, I whispered softly, "Willow, can you sing me the song you sang for me when I turned 18? Any song will do." Willow paused for a moment, but quickly replied with a gentle okay. She chose the simplest song, "Mother is the best in the world." Yet tears welled up in my eyes anyway. On my 18th birthday, I had stood in front of a bakery for a long time before buying a tiny single-serving cake made with cheap vegetable cream. Once upon a time, I too was the cherished treasure in my mother's heart. Every year, she took my birthday very seriously. She used to say I was a precious gift bestowed upon her by heaven. But after a sudden, severe illness, I no longer had my mother. My spirits had plummeted to rock bottom back then, and I called Willow over the phone, my choked voice impossible to hide. "Today is my birthday. I miss my mom so much. Can you sing 'Mother is the best in the world' for me?" There was a long silence on the other end of the line. I knew it was an unreasonable request. Yet that night, Willow stayed on the phone and sang it to me all night long. Her voice grew raspy until she could barely make a sound. She was looking up the lyrics to many of the songs on her phone on the spot, so her singing occasionally drifted offbeat and out of key. Even so, I gradually drifted off to sleep to the raspy sound of Willow's singing. It was the first peaceful sleep I had enjoyed since my mother passed away. I asked her, "Willow, do you know why I like you?" Her eyelashes fluttered slightly, and she hesitated before asking back, "Because of my looks?" Suddenly, images flashed in my mind. The photos she had taken under her former identity, each one enough to make anyone blush and their heart race. I cleared my throat twice, feeling my face burn. "That's only part of it." Willow raised her eyebrows, her eyes sparkling with amusement. "Well then, my years of playing the beauty haven't gone to waste, since my husband likes it so much." When Willow smiled, she was breathtaking, stirring the depths of my heart. I spoke each word with complete sincerity. Willow, I like you. Maybe because you've saved me from dire straits time and time again. If not for you, I probably would have died that summer when I was 18. Willow, you are the first and the only one who always stands behind me when I need someone, accepting all my brokenness and vulnerability. But of course, the reasons I like you go far beyond that. Then I flipped the question on her. Willow, why do you like me? I had never seen Willow look so serious. She looked me straight in the eye. Ethan, before you came along, I had never met anyone so resilient and radiant. You are as warm as the sun. Falling for someone so bright was only natural. To this day, I thank heaven every single day for letting me meet you, for bringing spring to a life that once felt like a stagnant pond. Willow kissed me. Ethan, I love you. Her unexpected confession made my heart race uncontrollably. I whispered in my heart, Willow, I love you too. For the rest of my life, that will never change. Main story concluded. Side story. Willow's perspective. In her office, Willow closed her eyes, watching her 27 years of life flash before her like a fast-forwarded movie. Her father was Beijing's top billionaire. He had raised her with strict, harsh discipline since childhood, while living a life of indulgence and infidelity on the side. When she was 19, her mother was driven to madness by her father and jumped from the rooftop. From that moment on, there was no one left in the world who truly needed her. On the day of her mother's memorial, she filled the bathtub to the brim and let herself sink into the water, giving up on everything. Her consciousness slowly drifted back. Then, a phone call rang out, pulling her back from the brink of death. Save me, it hurts so much. It was a guy she had once met online. The voice on the other end grew weaker and weaker, leaving only the sound of brutal lashes and tearing flesh. Willow used to be a hacker. She quickly traced the call's location and alerted the police. The young man was saved. When he called to thank her, his voice was soft and tender. Thank you. It's so good that you're alive. I'll try my best to keep living, too. I'll pay you back every single cent for the medical bills. Because of that so-called promise, Willow held on and tried to keep living for a very long time. The young man, named Ethan, paid her back little by little every week. He would also chatter endlessly, sharing so many stories with her. At first, Willow found it annoying, but gradually, she found herself looking forward to his call the following week. As they grew closer, she seemed to have fallen in love with him. When you have someone to care about, you can't bear to die. That was until the day her identity as a female student was exposed. She walked out of the company building and looked up at the night sky. The moon was veiled by dark clouds. There was a time when she, too, viewed Ethan as her moon, longing to be bathed in his light. But a high moon shines upon everything, yet it never shone on her. Willow once thought she had lost Ethan forever, until he held her in his arms, saying he was willing to give her a chance to explain. She looked up. The dark clouds parted, revealing a bright moon hanging in the night sky. Its gentle light beamed down, shining brightly just for her.